Two San Antonio families are hoping someone can help bring a killer to justice. It's been 2 years since the shooting, and this morning Charlie Cooper is live at SAPD headquarters on how they're asking and why they're asking the public to get involved. Charlie?
Good morning, Barry. Yeah, those two families are still grieving a whole 2 years later. The pain is really just still there, and they're hoping that the public can help find the killers who took those two boys. Now, those two boys are 20-year-old Ishmael Haywood and 17-year-old Demontre Mackey. They were riding in a vehicle in March 2016 that was ambushed near the intersection of Larry Street and Sherman Street. Now, 3 other men were in that vehicle at that time. Luckily, they survived. They were shot, but they did survive. And the person who shot them is said to have been driving a white 4-door sedan, and police say he used an assault rifle in the murder. They also say there was only one shooter. That person was a passenger in that sedan who's described as a thin black male, and the driver, well, that person was a heavy black man or woman with glasses. Now, police need your help tracking those people down. If you know anything or remember anything from that time, police are asking that you call Crime Stoppers at 224-STOP, and you may receive a reward of $5,000. Back to you.
Charlie, thank you. The judge